The first sign that something impossible had happened was not the glowing lights, not the shocked alien guards, and not even the sudden silence in the room. It was the look in the alien girl's eyes. A look that said she had just discovered something that should not exist. And the strange part? The human standing in front of her had absolutely no idea what he had done. The medical deck of the exploration vessel Aurora Pathfinder was unusually quiet. The ship drifted slowly through a peaceful region of space near the outer colonies. Most days were boring for Ethan Carter, the ship's human medic. He had joined the Alliance fleet hoping for adventure. He imagined rescuing stranded explorers, discovering new species, and saving lives in dramatic moments. Instead, most of his job involved headaches, mild infections, and reminding alien crew members not to eat human snack bars without checking the ingredients. Some species reacted very badly to chocolate. Ethan leaned back in his chair and sighed. Another calm day. Or so he thought. Suddenly, the intercom crackled. "Medical team, prepare for emergency arrival," the captain's voice echoed across the room. "Unknown alien passenger. Injured." Ethan immediately stood up. Finally, something interesting. Moments later, the medical doors opened with a soft hiss. 2 tall alien soldiers stepped inside, carrying someone between them. Ethan had treated many alien species before, but this one immediately caught his attention. The injured passenger was a young alien woman with shimmering pale blue skin that reflected the room's light like soft glass. Her long silver hair floated gently around her shoulders as if it ignored gravity. But what truly stood out were her eyes. They glowed faintly violet, and they were watching Ethan very carefully. One of the soldiers spoke through a translator device. "This is Lyra of the Illyrians. Her shuttle crashed during a pirate attack. Her leg is damaged." Ethan nodded calmly. "No problem," he said. "Let's take a look." The soldiers carefully placed her on the medical table. Ethan activated his scanner. A soft blue beam passed over her leg. He frowned slightly. The injury looked strange. Not broken, but something deeper. "Muscle disruption, nerve shock, strange energy patterns," Ethan muttered. He looked up at Lyra. "Does it hurt when you move?" She tried to stand. The moment she put pressure on her leg, she winced and nearly collapsed. Ethan quickly reached forward and caught her before she fell. "It's okay," he said gently. His voice was calm, the way experienced medics learn to speak when someone is afraid. "Let me try something." Ethan had treated hundreds of injuries during his career. Sometimes scanners and machines helped, but sometimes simple human touch worked better. He carefully sat beside her and began gently pressing around the injured muscles in her leg. Slowly, carefully. Human physical therapy techniques. He didn't notice the 2 alien soldiers suddenly exchanging confused looks. Ethan continued gently massaging the muscle, loosening tension and stimulating blood flow. To him, this was completely normal. To the Illyrian guards, it was absolutely shocking. Lyra suddenly froze. Her eyes widened. Her entire body became still. Ethan immediately stopped. "Did I hurt you?" he asked. But Lyra didn't answer. Instead, something strange happened. A faint pulse of light moved beneath her skin. Starting from the place where Ethan's hand touched her leg, the light slowly spread across her body like glowing rivers under the surface of her skin. The soldiers stepped backward in disbelief. "This is impossible," one whispered. Ethan blinked. "What's impossible?" Then Lyra spoke. Her voice sounded distant, like someone hearing music from far away. "The resonance, it has begun." Ethan looked around. "The what?" Before anyone could answer, the lights in the room flickered. Every medical monitor suddenly began displaying unknown symbols. Energy readings spiked across the scanners. Ethan quickly pulled his hand away. "What did I do?" But the moment he removed his hand, Lyra reached forward and grabbed his wrist. Her glowing violet eyes locked onto his. "You cannot stop it now." Ethan stared at her. "Stop, what?" The Illyrian soldiers looked genuinely nervous now. One of them activated a communicator. "We need command immediately." Human contact has triggered a resonance link. Ethan looked between them. A what link? No one answered immediately. Instead, Lyra slowly stood up. Something that should have been impossible. Just moments earlier she could barely move. Now she stood without pain. Her injured leg seemed completely healed. Ethan's eyes widened. Okay, that's new. Lyra looked down at her leg. Then back at Ethan. You healed me. Ethan shook his head. No, I definitely did not. I just massaged the muscle. The soldiers looked terrified. That is exactly the problem. Ethan frowned. I feel like you're about to tell me something I'm not going to like. Lyra studied him carefully. Then she spoke the words that would change his life forever. In Illyrian culture, a resonance link only forms when two beings share perfect biological harmony. Ethan crossed his arms. Okay. She took a slow breath. It is considered a sacred bond between souls. Ethan blinked. Oh. The soldier finished the sentence. It usually happens during ceremonial rituals between lifelong partners. Ethan's brain stopped processing information for a moment. Then he slowly pointed at himself. Let me guess. Yes, the soldier said. You accidentally started it. Ethan looked at his hands like they had betrayed him. I was just trying to help her walk again. Lyra stepped closer. Her glowing eyes softened. But you did more than that. Ethan took a cautious step backward. Please tell me this bond can be cancelled. Lyra hesitated. The silence lasted just a little too long. Then she finally answered. No. Ethan groaned. Fantastic. But none of them realized something far more dangerous had just happened. Because across the galaxy, Illyrian warships had just detected the signal of a resonance link with a human. And to them, that meant only one thing. A power long believed impossible had just awakened. And now every major alien empire would want the same thing. The human who could create it. Ethan Carter barely had time to breathe before the medical bay doors slid open again. Captain Mara Voss stepped in with fast, controlled steps. She was human, tall, and sharp-eyed, someone who carried calm like armor. Behind her came Chief Engineer Dax Rourke, a heavy-built man with oil-stained hands, and Sarah Miles, the ship's young communications officer who always looked like she hadn't slept enough. All three stared at the violet glow still fading under Lyra's skin. Captain Voss spoke first. Report. Ethan lifted both hands like he was surrendering to reality. I touched her leg. I did normal therapy. Now I'm apparently spiritually married. Dax let out a single short laugh. That's the most human sentence I've ever heard. Lyra stood upright beside the table, calm and steady now, like the injury had never happened. She looked at Captain Voss with a polite tilt of her head. The human's contact triggered a resonance link, Lyra said. Sarah's eyes widened. That's real. I thought that was, like, myth. The two Illyrian guards shifted uneasily. One of them, older and broader, spoke with his translator device. Not myth. Ancient law. Captain Voss's expression hardened. Explain the danger. The older guard hesitated. The younger one said it quickly, like ripping off a bandage. A resonance link broadcasts a biological signature across subspace. Dax frowned. Broadcasts to who? The guard swallowed. To everyone who knows how to listen. Sarah's fingers flew across a tablet. Captain, she's right. I'm seeing subspace noise patterns spiking. Like a beacon. It's faint but, it's there. Ethan felt his stomach sink. So, I'm a lighthouse. Captain Voss's voice stayed calm, but her jaw tightened. How long until someone detects it? Lyra answered softly. They already have. As if to prove her point, the ship's alarm suddenly chirped. Short, sharp, urgent. Sarah looked up. Incoming transmission. Unknown source. Priority code, it's not Alliance. Captain Voss snapped. On screen. A holographic display appeared in the air. It showed a tall figure with dark armor and a face hidden behind a mask of shifting metal. The translator struggled for half a second, then stabilized. "Alliance vessel Aurora Pathfinder," the figure said. "You are carrying an Illyrian. You are also carrying something far more valuable." Ethan whispered, "I don't like how he said that." The figure continued. "The human medic. Deliver him to us. We will be generous." Captain Voss didn't flinch. "Identify yourself." The figure's mask shifted, revealing slitted eyes glowing green. "We are the Car Dominion," it said. "We collect what the universe refuses to understand." Dax muttered, "That's a villain line if I've ever heard one." Captain Voss leaned forward. "We're not handing anyone over." The car leader's voice turned colder. "Then you will be boarded." The transmission ended. For one heartbeat, the room was silent. Then the ship shook. Not from impact, yet, but from the sudden surge of engines. Sarah's voice came over the intercom. "Captain. Multiple warp signatures. 3 ships just dropped into our sector." Captain Voss turned sharply to Dax. "Battle stations. Now." Dax ran out. Ethan's brain raced. "Captain, I'm not a soldier. I'm a medic." Captain Voss looked at him. "Today you're a target. That's enough." Lyra stepped closer to Ethan. "They will not stop. The Dominion believes humans cannot resonate. They consider it impossible. A threat. Or a weapon." Ethan stared at her. "I didn't do it on purpose." "I know," she said softly. "That is what makes it powerful. Illyrians can only link through trained ritual. You did it through care." Ethan blinked. "Through care?" Lyra nodded. "Your intent was healing, not bonding. The link responded to your nature." Ethan almost laughed from stress. "My nature is mostly coffee and sarcasm." Lyra's lips twitched. "And yet you healed me." Captain Voss's comm beeped. "Bridge to medical. Captain, you need to see this." Everyone rushed toward the bridge. When Ethan arrived, the view through the main screen made his blood run cold. 3 massive ships floated ahead, dark and sharp-edged like knives. Their hulls were covered in faint glowing symbols. They looked ancient, yet terrifyingly advanced. Sarah spoke quickly. "Car Dominion war cruisers. They're blocking the lane. Weapons are charging." Captain Voss stared at the screen. "Options." Dax's voice came through from engineering. "Engines are good, but they've got us boxed. If we jump, they'll track us." Ethan looked at Lyra. "Can you stop the signal?" Lyra shook her head. "Not directly. But there is something else." Captain Voss turned. "Speak." Lyra took a breath. "The resonance link is two-way. It connects awareness. It can also connect patterns." Ethan frowned. "Patterns?" Lyra's eyes were serious now. "Illyrians use resonance to share emotion, memory, sometimes even skill. If you focus, you may learn things through me. And I may learn through you." Ethan's heart pounded. "You mean, like, instant training?" "In a way," Lyra said. "But it is unstable. Dangerous. Humans are not trained for it." Dax's voice crackled again over comms. "Captain, I can rig the plasma vents to flash-blind their sensors for maybe 10 seconds. But we'll need perfect timing." Captain Voss's eyes narrowed. 10 seconds isn't enough to escape." Ethan stared at the ships. He felt helpless. Then something odd happened. A sudden pressure behind his eyes. A rush of images that were not his. A silver desert under violet stars. A temple of floating crystal. A sound like singing, but made of light. Ethan staggered, gripping the wall. "What the?" Lyra grabbed his arm. "You are hearing me." Ethan swallowed. "I'm seeing things. Your memories." "Good," Lyra whispered. "Then we can do more." Captain Voss looked between them. "Do what?" Lyra's voice sharpened. Humans solve problems differently. Illyrians solve them with resonance. If we combine, we can create a third option. Ethan's mind raced. Captain, what if we don't run? Captain Voss stared at him. Explain. Ethan pointed at the sensor display. They are confident. They think we're cornered. Their ships are tuned for war. For force. He looked at Lyra. But resonance is about harmony, right? Lyra nodded slowly. Ethan continued. Then what happens if we overload their systems with the wrong kind of harmony? Sarah blinked. That sounds like nonsense. Ethan shrugged. Most human ideas start that way. Dax said, I'm listening. Crazy is our brand. Ethan took a breath. The car are tracking the resonance link signal. If we amplify it and shape it, we might feed their sensors a signal so complex it crashes their subspace tracking. Sarah frowned. Like jamming them. No, Ethan said. Like giving them a puzzle so big their brain melts. Captain Voss's eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Can you do it? Ethan looked at Lyra. Can we? Lyra's gaze locked with his. If you trust me. Ethan nodded once. Okay. Tell me what to do. Lyra placed her hand gently on Ethan's temple. Instantly, the world shifted. Ethan felt as if he was standing in two places at once. He could feel the ship around him, and also a silent Illyrian temple somewhere in memory. He heard Lyra's thoughts like soft music. She guided him, not with words, but with feelings. Balance. Pressure. Rhythm. Ethan spoke quickly to Sarah. Can you route the subspace transmitter through the medical resonance scanner? Sarah blinked. That's not standard. Ethan grinned nervously. Humans aren't standard. Captain Voss snapped. Do it. Sarah's fingers flew. Okay, rerouting. Oh my god, the scanner is responding. Dax's voice crackled. Captain, I can sync the plasma vent flash with the transmitter surge. But if this goes wrong, we'll fry our own comms. Captain Voss said, do it. Ethan's heart pounded like a drum. Lyra's voice whispered in his mind. Now. Breathe with me. Ethan inhaled. Then exhaled slowly. The ship speakers began to hum, not audible to most ears, but the instruments picked it up. A low resonance spreading through the hull. On the main screen, the car ship's sensor lights flickered. Sarah shouted, they're reacting. They're trying to lock on but, wait, what is that? The car ships suddenly shifted position slightly, like confused predators. Then the car leader appeared again on screen, voice distorted by interference. What are you doing, human? Ethan stepped forward, shaking but steady. I'm helping my friend walk again. And then he pushed the resonance higher. Lyra's eyes glowed bright violet. The ship system surged, not with raw power, but with pattern, like a song becoming a storm. Outside, one car ship's shields flashed erratically. Another ship's targeting system blinked off. The third ship began rotating slowly, as if it had forgotten which way was forward. Sarah gasped. Captain, they're losing sync. Their subspace stabilizers are malfunctioning. Dax yelled, now! Plasma flash! The Aurora Pathfinder vented a blinding burst of plasma. For 10 seconds, the sector looked like a newborn sun. Captain Voss shouted, jump! Full jump! The ship's engines roared. Space stretched. Reality bent. And the Aurora Pathfinder tore free. When the stars snapped back into view, the bridge erupted into stunned silence. They had escaped. Ethan collapsed into a chair, sweating. Sarah stared at him like he was a myth. You jammed warships with feelings. Ethan laughed weakly. I'm as confused as you are. Lyra sat beside him, calm again. You did not just jam them. You taught them something. Captain Voss turned slowly. What did we teach them? Lyra's eyes were serious. That humans can resonate without rituals. Ethan swallowed. Is that bad? Lyra leaned closer. It means the galaxy will not see you as a medic anymore, she whispered. They will see you as a key. Captain Voss stared at the stars ahead. Then we keep that key out of enemy hands. Sarah's console suddenly beeped. Her face went pale. Captain, we have a new signal. Captain Voss snapped. From the car. Sarah shook her head slowly. No, from the Illyrian Council. Ethan frowned. That's good, right? Sarah swallowed. They're not thanking us. The message flashed across the screen in Illyrian script, then translated into simple English. Return the human immediately. The resonance he carries belongs to US. Ethan's blood turned cold. Lyra's face tightened. Captain Voss whispered, so the Illyrians want him too. And in that moment, Ethan realized the worst truth of all. He wasn't being hunted by one enemy. He was being hunted by everyone. For the first time since leaving Earth, Ethan Carter felt the strange weight of being important. Not the good kind of important. The dangerous kind. The kind that made powerful civilizations chase you across the galaxy. The bridge of the Aurora Pathfinder was quiet as the translated message from the Illyrian Council remained glowing on the main screen. Return the human immediately. The resonance he carries belongs to US. Ethan rubbed his face slowly. Well, he muttered, that's not a thank you card. Captain Mara Voss folded her arms, studying the message. So the Dominion wants you, she said calmly. And the Illyrians want you. Dax leaned against the engineering console. Congratulations, Doc, he said dryly. You've become the galaxy's most popular kidnapping target. Ethan sighed. All I did was help someone walk. Lyra stood beside him, her glowing violet eyes thoughtful rather than frightened. You did more than that, she said quietly. You proved something the galaxy believed impossible. Sarah looked up from her communications panel. The Illyrian Council is requesting immediate compliance, she said. They've also deployed ships. Captain Voss raised an eyebrow. How many? Sarah swallowed. 8. Dax whistled softly. That's a diplomatic way of saying do what we want or else. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. Lyra, why do they want me so badly? She hesitated before answering. Because the resonance link you created should not exist. Ethan frowned. But it does. Yes, Lyra said. That is the problem. She stepped closer to the observation window, staring at the stars drifting past. For thousands of years, the Illyrian people believed resonance required perfect spiritual preparation. Years of training. Sacred rituals. Precise alignment of mind and body. She turned back to him. And then a human medic did it by accident. Dax chuckled. That sounds about right for humanity. Captain Voss nodded slightly. Humans don't follow rules very well. Sarah added, especially cosmic ones. Ethan scratched his head. So the Illyrians want to study me. Or control you, Lyra said softly. The room went quiet. Captain Voss finally spoke. Options. Dax shrugged. We can't outrun 2 fleets. Sarah said, we can't hide either. The resonance signal still exists. Ethan stared at the stars. Then something clicked in his mind. Wait. Everyone looked at him. Ethan slowly smiled. Maybe we're thinking about this wrong. Captain Voss raised an eyebrow. I'm listening. Ethan turned to Lyra. You said resonance is about harmony, right? Yes. And it connects minds, emotions, patterns. Yes. Ethan's grin slowly widened. Then what if we don't hide it? Dax blinked. You want to broadcast the thing everyone's chasing. Exactly. Captain Voss crossed her arms. That sounds extremely risky. Ethan shrugged. Humans specialize in risky. Sarah leaned forward. Okay, explain the crazy idea. Ethan pointed at the navigation map. Right now the galaxy sees resonance as something rare and controlled.
Lyra nodded. Yes.
But what happens, Ethan continued, if we show everyone that humans can create resonance naturally? Silence filled the room. Then Dax's eyes slowly widened.
Oh.
Sarah whispered, "You're not serious."
Ethan shrugged. Why not?
Captain Voss looked at him carefully. "You're suggesting we share the knowledge with everyone?"
Yes.
Lyra stared at him in shock. That would destroy centuries of Illyrian tradition. Ethan nodded calmly. And it would stop anyone from owning it. The idea hung in the air like a spark waiting to ignite. Dax laughed suddenly. "That's the most human solution I've ever heard." Sarah grinned. "If everyone has the technology, nobody controls it." Captain Voss looked thoughtful. "Balance through chaos."
Ethan nodded.
Exactly. Lyra studied him carefully. "You would give this power freely?" Ethan shrugged. "Humans already do that. Look at the internet." Dax laughed loudly. "Yeah. Humanity's greatest invention." Sarah added, "And biggest mistake." Ethan walked to the communications console. "Let's turn this into the galaxy's biggest open-source project." Captain Voss took a slow breath. "All right," she said. "Let's change history." Sarah began preparing a massive broadcast. Routing signal across all Alliance channels, neutral sectors, open frequencies. Dax modified the ship's resonance scanner. "If we amplify the link, every science station in the region will detect it." Lyra still looked uncertain. "This will cause chaos." Ethan smiled gently. "Sometimes chaos is how progress starts." She looked at him quietly, then finally nodded. "Very well." Sarah raised her hand. "Broadcast ready." Captain Voss looked around the bridge. No turning back. Ethan stood beside Lyra. "Let's show the galaxy something new." Sarah pressed the command. The Aurora Pathfinder sent a powerful signal into space. Not a weapon. Not a threat. A message. Ethan's voice carried across thousands of communication networks. "Hello, Galaxy. My name is Ethan Carter. I'm just a human medic." A pause. But today something impossible happened. Behind him, Lyra placed her hand on his arm. The resonance glow returned. Soft violet light filled the bridge. Ethan continued speaking. "This is resonance. Illyrians believed it required ancient rituals. But I triggered it by trying to help someone." The signal transmitted detailed data from the medical scanners. Biological readings. Resonance frequencies. Everything. Sarah whispered, "The data is spreading everywhere." Dax grinned. "Scientific forums are going to explode." Ethan continued calmly. "This knowledge doesn't belong to empires. It doesn't belong to one species. It belongs to everyone." Across the galaxy, scientists, explorers, and researchers began receiving the information. Within minutes, thousands of labs started analyzing the data. Some began testing immediately. Sarah stared at the incoming signals. "Oh wow." Captain Voss looked over. "What is it?" Sarah pointed at the screen. "They're replicating it." Lyra's eyes widened. "Already?" Dax laughed. "Never underestimate bored scientists." Moments later, reports flooded in. A human research station had recreated the resonance pattern. A mixed-species colony triggered a similar link. Even a group of independent traders accidentally formed a resonance bond while experimenting with the data. Lyra whispered in awe. "It's spreading." Ethan smiled. "Yeah." Captain Voss looked at the tactical screen. The approaching Illyrian fleet had stopped moving. Sarah watched the transmissions carefully. "They're arguing." Dax grinned. "Hard to control something the whole galaxy now understands." Ethan leaned back in his chair. "Looks like the secret's out." Lyra turned to him slowly. You have changed everything.
Ethan shrugged. I just shared it.
Lyra smiled faintly. That is the human way. Captain Voss stepped beside them. Status update. Sarah looked at the sensors. The Car Dominion ships have retreated. Dax added, and the Illyrian fleet is leaving. Ethan blinked. That's it. Captain Voss smiled slightly. When power stops being rare, it stops being worth fighting over. The bridge relaxed for the first time in hours. Ethan looked at Lyra. So, are we still mysteriously soul-linked? Lyra laughed softly. Yes. And now thousands of others may experience the same. Ethan sighed. Well, humanity just started a galaxy-wide social experiment. Dax grinned. Best kind. Outside the ship, the stars shone peacefully again. But something fundamental had changed. Across the galaxy, new connections were forming. New partnerships. New understanding. All because one human medic chose to help someone walk again. And in doing so, humanity proved something the universe had never expected. Sometimes the greatest strength of humans wasn't their technology, or their ships, or their weapons. It was their willingness to share. And that simple idea was powerful enough to change the galaxy forever.